Welcome to I Said What I Said, a sports podcast giving you opinions not heard anywhere else. I'm your host, Brad Wakai, alongside my co-host, Tyson Gentry. And Tyson, we're about to put a bow on all the preseason work that we're doing before the NFL season, because on Thursday, we actually have the opening kickoff of the 2023-2024 NFL season. I can't wait.
It's about damn time, dude. I don't know how long or how many people can talk about the same thing all summer. Like, we're grinding, we're putting out a couple episodes a week, but then I try to go listen to something else, and it's just like everybody's been talking about the same shit, man. Can we get on the field, put the pads on? We already know what we think about these guys. Now it's time to see it, man.
Exactly. And so, like we said, we're putting on the bow. We got our NFL Futures Extravaganza episode right now. So we're going to go through each of the divisions, get out any of the winners that we like in the betting market. Going to go through NFC Conference, AFC Conference, picking our winners in each, and then who we think is going to win the Super Bowl, as well as we'll get some pre-flop action down right before the season kicks off, and then close it out with any player awards that we like early that we want to get down on right now. So
if you're sitting at home and you're like, well, what about win totals? You're not going to do win totals? They were released, I believe, last week. So we have AFC and NFC one. So if you want to go check those out, that's where your win totals are going to live.
Absolutely. And you can check out our social media. Those will be on there as well. If you just want a quick little thing without any reasoning, but go back. We highly encourage you to go back and listen to those episodes as well. So, Tyson, let's dive right in, baby. Division winners. And we're going to start in the NFC. And we're going to start in the NFC South, where, pulling this up now, I don't know what just happened. It crashed. We have the New Orleans Saints, the favorites in the South at plus 130. The Atlanta Falcons, second at plus 210. The Carolina Panthers at plus 360. And then the Buccaneers at plus 750. They're sitting with the worst odds. Now, new look Saints team, Derek Carr. Obviously, the hype surrounding the Atlanta Falcons with bringing in Bijan Robinson, what this offense could be. Rookie quarterback, new head coach for the Panthers, and Baker Mayfield taking over in Tampa. Anything that you like here that you want to put your money on pre-flop?
Yeah, so let's break this down just a little bit, right? The Bucs aren't winning the division. I'm confident in that. I don't see any way that happens. Panthers, Bryce Young, I don't think comes out and wins the division with this team to start his NFL career. And if you've been listening to this show at all, ever, once, I'm a Saints hater. I don't really know why. Easiest schedule in the league. They're going to get out. They're going to be 9-0. It's going to be all gravy, everything. We're Derek Carr defenders on this show. So, all the stars are aligned for the Saints here. But I am on the Atlanta Falcons to win this division. I think Arthur Smith is the best head coach in the division. I think that their skill positions on offense are solidified at this point. I don't think Desmond Ridder is going to be like a super ceiling raiser. Like, I don't think because they have Desmond Ridder, they're going to win 12 games. But I do think that if he can just kind of, hey, I got big body Drake London, I got big body Kyle Pitts, and I got the best running back in the league. I said it. I say it again. To hand the ball off to behind me. And Jesse Bates and all those guys coming over on defense, I really like Atlanta this year. And I think this is probably a division you could win 9-10 wins.
I think that what you're looking for if you like the Falcons is that you can win with an 8 or 9 win football team, because I don't think the Falcons have a ceiling, despite their soft schedule, of winning 12 or 13. No. I know a lot of people have it out there that that's a path. I don't think so. Now, the reason why I'm not buying into this Falcons team is I just flat out don't believe in Desmond Ridder. Like, I need to see it, because everything that I've seen regarding this guy, whether he was at Cincy and when he came in for Marcus Mariota, was he's a below average quarterback. And I don't think that below average quarterbacks are division winners very often. Now, it does happen, and that could happen this season. But I think on paper, even the Saints probably have a better overall roster. I wouldn't say top-end talent. I still think the Falcons have some holes that the Saints may not have. But again, the Saints are an aging defense. I don't believe in Derek Carr. So I don't believe in laying a plus 130 price here for the Saints either. So I'm not taking this here. And I agree with you. In terms of Tampa, I don't see a path for them. I don't think Baker Mayfield's any good. This is an aging offensive line that struggled last season, and Todd Bowles is the worst coach in the division, which is saying something when Dennis Allen's the head coach. And you said it. As far as the Panthers go, I want to believe in this little rebuild. I'd love for Ink Reich as a head coach. I think Bryce Young's going to be really good. I know a lot of people don't. But this offensive line's a mess. This defense, I think, has question marks. And I think there are really two teams you have to decide on if you want to bet this are the Saints or the Falcons that you're picking.
You talked yourself
Plus
all the way
210.
through it and still didn't take it. Still didn't take anybody.
I can't do it, man. Because I just can't. I'll sit now. Here's the thing, too, and I'll say this kind of as we go through. I'm going to be playing a lot of these angles in season. I think there's a lot of lines that get stale, a lot of lines that are laid, and there's a lot of overreactions in the market from both odds makers and bettors, where I think there's much softer lines that you can attack. Like these things have been picked at all summer. Like these are pretty hard lines here. Now, if the Saints come out and dominate, all right, we'll see. If the Falcons come out and look much better, maybe there's a change in my mentality. But right now, nothing for me in the NFC South. Tyson likes the Atlanta Falcons. Let's move to the NFC North, because I think this is a very, very interesting division, Tyson, because you have the Detroit Lions, who are the favorites at plus 145, the Minnesota Vikings, last year's division winners, who are a huge candidate for regression at plus 260, the Green Bay Packers with Jordan Love at plus 350, and you have the Chicago Bears, who's everybody's darling, at plus 430. Now, a lot of people are going to be picking the Bears. You know, a lot of people love the Lions. I think everybody's kind of out on the Vikings, and you have the unknown in the Green Bay Packers. Are you selecting a team here?
Yeah, man, it's Dan Campbell, baby. We've been waiting for the coronation for quite a while. I mean, we were first on the island, and we're the only ones that haven't left. Defense has to be a little better, right? I mean, logically, you just with who they add, and you know, it's tough to sit here and just say like, oh, Jack Campbell coming like in the draft, the rookie middle linebacker is going to take you over the edge or whatever. Aiden Hutchins is going to be better. The linebacking core is going to be good. The secondary, you hope, shows some improvement, but it probably will. And then, like, I don't believe in Minnesota. I really, really don't. I don't believe in Green Bay, and that's not because I don't think Jordan Love's a good quarterback or because I don't think Matt LaFleur can coach. It's quite a bit of shit to be undergoing in one offseason, really like three now, if we're being honest, with this team. But they're the youngest team in the division, one of the youngest teams in the league. And then with the Bears, man, like, I'll be glad to be wrong if Justin Fields is awesome. And if DJ Moore is as good as I think he is, and Eberflus can coach and all that stuff, that'd be awesome if the Bears came out and win this division. But I think this is actually a division where an 8, 9, 10 win football team is like kind of solidified week 16, 17, like before the end of the season. Maybe the Lions are resting people at the end of the season with 10 wins. And I do want to point out, so we just did the NFC South one. If you have deep pockets and you're thinking like us that there's only two possible winners for a division, might be worth playing them both.
Yeah, and you can obviously set it up to you get more for the favorite if you bet them, and they get whatever return you want if you take the bigger underdog. Tyson, I'm not playing anything in this division either. This is one of the ones I finally got our chance,
man.
Well, so here's the thing. It's the defense for me, man. Like with the Lions, and I want to believe in what's going on here. I need to see it with them. You know, like I don't know how good Aaron Glenn is as a coordinator, and he was great on Hard Knocks. It just did not produce on the field. Now they get a little better down the stretch. Sure, I think you can point that out, and the offense certainly took it to the next level. I actually think this offense is going to be awesome this year. Like you add more weapons. My concern with them is what happens if Amon-Ra St. Brown gets hurt. You know, then you're very thin at wide receiver, in my opinion. Like we haven't seen Jameson Williams on the field, and so that is a concern for me because when he did get injured last year, it was rough. I think if anything, I would take a shot on those Packers this season, Tyson. Mainly because it's the unknown. Like nobody really knows what to expect from Jordan Love. And I think it's priced that way. Like he could be really good. And if that's the case, this is a playoff roster that's been underneath that's coached by a coach of the year candidate each and every year in Matt LaFleur, a defense that's set up for success. And you have a two-headed monster on the ground who really can take a lot of pressure off him. It just depends on if he's good or not. We have no idea. And like you said with the Bears, I'll be more than happy to be wrong on this one. Like we took them last year. We took them last year to be the worst team in the league. I mean, thank you to Lovie Smith, that hit, because that was awesome. But I just don't see it. I mean, they had the first overall pick. And everybody expects this team to win the 11 games. All of a sudden, it's lunacy when their quarterback can't complete a freaking forward pass consistently. It's nuts. And then the Vikings, you said it too. They're a huge regression candidate. Listen, if I'm wrong on them again, hey, Kevin O'Connell can really coach, but I'm staying away from this division. Pre-flop, I want to see what's going on. I want to get more stability in terms of what I'm watching with my eyes.
So if Amon-Ra St. Brown missing time makes the Lions a bottom of the barrel receiving room, and the Packers' wideout room is basically the Lions' receiving room without Amon-Ra St. Brown. It's hard for me to wrap my head around that.
I think, well, the Packers' defense is much better.
It is. It's way better.
It's much better. So I think that gives me a little leg up there. Plus, I know it's this is like a kind of a BS handicap, but like, dude, the Packers are just in everybody's head in this division. You know, I don't think maybe that's the Aaron Rodgers effect is the same without him there, and it's Jordan Love. So it feels like a little bit more vulnerable, but it's just, I don't know, if they get it rolling again, it's like, shit, here we go again. It's the Packers.
Of course he's going to the Hall of Fame. They got another one.
Exactly. So Tyson playing the Lions at plus 145 here in the NFC North. No play for me. Let's move on to the NFC West here. I mean, is this going to be the worst division in football? Honestly, it's brutal. Niners are a minus 165 favorite to win this thing. There's question marks about what's going on there. Now, Nick Bosa did just get paid, so he'll probably play. But there's been injury concerns with the Niners every year. You got the Seattle Seahawks second plus 200. You know, you're going to have a good passing attack whenever Jackson Smith and Jigba comes back. That defense under Pete Carroll is always set to be good. The Los Angeles Rams are third at plus 1,000. I mean, geez, they won the Super Bowl 2 years ago. And you got the Cardinals at plus 2,700, who may not win a game this season. So this is the haves and the have-nots. What are you playing in the NFC West?
So I'm going to abstain from this one. I think the Niners win the division. I think everybody in the world thinks the Niners win the division, but I don't really want to tie my money up for 20 weeks, waiting for the inevitable, so to speak. But the other side is like, what if maybe Brock Purdy isn't as good as, sports talk radio wants him to be? Like, for real, like maybe there's a chance that like he went undefeated because the scheme was such that everything was simple and easy, and like he's coming back from a torn UCL, and now we're just expecting him to slide right back in. Like that was what, 7 months ago that he tore that ligament. I mean, and then you're relying on like Sam Darnold, who just walked in the door, and I'm not, picking them to be bad or anything like that. But I mean, there's two ways it could go. The Niners could either blow everybody out and win this division pretty handily, or they get hurt and Seattle wins the division. Like the Cardinals, I don't know if we're doing this, but they're going to have the worst record in the league, and that's stamped.
Tyson, I'm taking a shot on the Seahawks plus 200 here. So, and you laid it out extremely well. My reason for this is I don't think we know if Brock Purdy's good or not. Like, and everybody just assumes, like you said, after we saw it last year, and everybody's like, well, we can just, he could just throw it out to all these weapons and they'll be fine. The offensive line is going to be worse. They lost Mike McGlinchey. Now, he hasn't been especially great in pass block, but he's a really good run blocker. So that's a downgrade in terms of what the Niners are. They get hurt. I'm not kidding. Every single year. George Kittle, okay, he's back at practice. That guy, I love him. He's banged up. Deebo Samuel, it feels like he's bionic, but if he goes down, okay, that's a weapon. I mean, it's a ticking time bomb with Christian McCaffrey, and Elijah Mitchell is always hurt. And so if those guys go out, because Brock Purdy had them all last season, if they're out, what does this offense look like? And then it's a defense again who should be very good, but DeMeco Ryans is gone. You have a new defensive coordinator in Steve Wilks. I'm going to take a shot on the Seahawks to have a much better roster than I think they've had under Pete Carroll in the past few seasons. It seems like Geno Smith has figured some things out, and they were smartly adding weapons to make sure that he can continue to elevate his game. Now, as Smith and Jigba with the wrist injury, we're not playing for week one here. It's not a 1 week thing. We're playing for over a 17-game stretch. Plus, Tyson, if the passing game does go to hell, I mean, they got like 6 running backs there. So
the
they
thing
can
is,
hand the
like
ball
last
off.
year, they couldn't score in the red zone running the football, right? Kenneth Walker's not a true banger between the tackles at the 5. So what do? They go out and get, in my opinion, the premier guy in this draft for that exact thing. Zach Charbonnet is going to kill people in the red zone, and I actually think Zach Charbonnet might be a sneaky look if your book offers you rookie touchdown leaders for running back.
There you go. There's a little nugget for you. Okay, so I'm on Seahawks plus 200, taking a shot here in the NFC West going against the 49ers. Tyson's abstaining from this. Let's get to the NFC East. Our NFC East, as we are Philadelphia Eagles fans. Go check out the Filthy podcast if you are an Eagles fan like us, as we do all Philadelphia Eagles content there. But the Eagles, after going to the Super Bowl last year and winning this division, are minus 115, the favorites. The Dallas Cowboys plus 175. Now, the New York Giants, who made the playoffs last year, are plus 700. And then the basement is the Washington Commanders at plus 1,300 with first year, let's say, pretty much a rookie quarterback in Sam Howell and Eric Bieniemy as a new offensive coordinator. So, Tyson, I feel like I know where you're going, but let's get it on paper. Who are you taking to win the NFC East?
So, unfortunately, Brad, nothing's going on paper in this division.
Wow.
Yeah. I think that there's a pretty good chance that Dallas wins 13 games or so in the regular season, and I'm not going to sit up here and pick them to win the NFC East. The other part, the NFC East hasn't had a repeating champ. Everyone knows it. Everyone's heard the stats since the first Bush administration, like the OG Bush administration. Yeah. So it's really hard to see. Like, the Eagles are more talented on paper than all these guys. Everybody in the league seems like they're one injury away from that not being the case. I think smart money here is like, you put $5 on the Commanders, let it rip.
That would be, if the Commanders win this, I mean, it's such an NFC East thing. But Tyson, the last team to repeat as NFC champions were the Philadelphia Eagles. So it makes sense to come all full circle here and for them to do it. Now, minus 115, I'm not getting a great number here. Like, they were plus money throughout the summer at certain points. It's settled here at minus 115. It kind of makes sense to me, especially after we saw the offseason or the preseason, kind of went through the entire offseason. The Dallas Cowboys are replacing Kellen Moore. Dak Prescott supposedly is going to have a comeback season. I actually like Dak. I'm not down on him like everybody else is. But listen, to expect him to turn into Patrick Mahomes, I think, is quite a stretch. And we already know Mike McCarthy isn't the best in-game coach. He gets tight. He has weird game plans. And now he wants to run the ball more with Tony Pollard, who I don't think is necessarily built to bang through the tackles.
Do you think he holds up for 17 games?
I don't think so, man. He's also coming off a fractured ankle.
That's kind of where I'm at.
And this offensive line, Tyson, they're already banged up. Like, this offensive line's already hurt. And so I think the defense is going to be the best in the league for the Cowboys. I think they're going to win a lot of games. But the Eagles, even after getting the first place schedule, based on win total projections, they have the softest schedule in this division once again. They're built to win this thing again and again and again. And I think they're going to do it, and they're going to break that curse.
Let's go.
Okay, AFC time. Let's get over to the AFC South. Man, you got your Jaguars at minus 155. Titans second, plus 310. The hot Indianapolis Colts that everybody's been jumping on all summer with Shane Steichen, new head coach, and Anthony Richardson at plus 550. And then you got the Houston Texans, similar situation with rookie head coach DeMeco Ryans and rookie QB CJ Stroud at plus 1,000. Tyson, you land anything in this division?
No, because again, I don't like the numbers so much, but I think this is a stone cold hammer lock if Jacksonville stays healthy. I mean, like, Doug Peterson probably won't win Coach of the Year because he's already, like, been there, done that as far as the requirements that are necessary, and the award didn't show up to his house. So I don't know if they give it to him now that he's in Jacksonville, but this team, they should go 6-0 in division. I mean, the Colts are a mess. CJ Stroud's probably, in my opinion, I think he's closer to leading the league in interceptions this season than he is to leading the Texans to a winning record. I don't have any faith in what's going on in Tennessee. I mean, it's easy, but I didn't bet it myself, so I'm not going to say that I did.
I think if you want to attack the Jags, pair them with somebody else you really like.
Exactly.
So if you love the Chiefs, if you love the Jags, like I did that last year when I took the Bills and the Bucks to win their division. Now the Bucks, my God, they made me sweat, but it came home. Oof, man, that was scary. It came home all right. So I think if you like the Jags, you pair them with somebody else. Maybe if you love the Niners, pair the Jags with the Niners. For me, I'm not taking anything either here. The reason why, I don't know if I can necessarily trust the Jags yet, Tyson. And I know that Doug Peterson's there. There's an adult and everything like that. And it feels like it's a different franchise. It's still the freaking Jacksonville Jaguars, and something strange always happens in this division. And it would not shock me when everybody's kicking Mike Vrabel and the Titans while they're on the ground, supposedly, that this team all of a sudden just bands together and they do some crazy stuff and win this division. I don't believe in the Colts. I think they're a year away from being a year away. And by that, I mean 5 years. No, I'm kidding there. And the Texans, they really are probably 5 years away, to be completely honest. And so I think it's going to come down to the Titans or the Jags, where the Jags definitely are much better on paper, but I just don't want to lay this price to take the Jags as well. And so I'm going to stay away from it, knowing that this thing can get wacky. Now, the AFC North, this is going to be an awesome division. I know a lot of people are saying that they think this is going to be the best division in football. You got the Bengals at plus 150. We all know about Joe Burrow and that offense. You got the Baltimore Ravens at plus 210. New offensive coordinator, Todd Monken. How does this thing look? You got the Cleveland Browns at plus 400. Is Deshaun Watson washed, or is he able to make a comeback? And then you have the Pittsburgh Steelers at plus 470, where there is a lot of buzz surrounding what's going on in Pittsburgh with Kenny Pickett in his second season and everything else that they got going on there. So, Tyson, AFC North, who are you taking?
So again, I know this is getting boring. I didn't put a bet on the AFC North. I'll tell you why. I'm very high on the Baltimore Ravens this year. I think, to be honest with you, they don't get enough credit for walking into the playoffs year after year with Tyler Huntley or whatever bag of bones quarterback that they seem to throw in, because Lamar's never really healthy when it comes playoff time. And then his rookie year, right, he's taking over for Joe Flacco, and it's not really he wasn't running the show at that point. I think they're going to be really good, but I also think the Bengals are going to be really good. My concern with Cincinnati, you can tell me if this is crazy or not. Maybe I'm reading too many tea leaves here, but Joe Burrow doesn't have his contract done. If Joe Burrow gets hurt at some point this season, and he doesn't seem like the kind of guy to do this, but who's to say that they don't say, like, look, dude, he's already dealing with the calf injury. He just got hurt again in week 3. We got to get paid, because no matter how many promises are made or guarantees you have before pen is to paper, it's impossible to know if that contract is still going to stand. And like, that's concerning enough for me to want to stay away from it. I would lean Cincinnati, but with that in mind, I just, like, it's a non-zero chance. And that to me is something I don't really want to play with.
No, and that's my thing too. This is why I'm staying away from it. This is a prime division that I'm going to be circling to bet in season. One, it's wacky. They always beat each other, and you're not really going to know until it's late in the year, and I think you're going to have stale lines. That's my personal belief. I think right now, if I'm looking at anything, I'm looking at the Cleveland Browns at plus 400. I think that defense is going to be awesome this year under Schwartz, and I really do think that there's going to have a bounce-back resurgence from Deshaun Watson on offense, mainly due to the fact that I think Kevin Stefanski is going to realize he has Nick Chubb as his running back and can turn around and hand him the ball in high-leverage situations. So that would be my look early, is the Browns plus 400, because if they start winning, it's going to get lower and lower. And if they beat the Bengals in week 1, the Browns are home, by the way. If they win that game, you're just going to cut this in half. Like, they're probably going to be plus 200. And so it's a wonky division. I'm not going to hold anything outright. I'm circling things here. The reason why I'm not on the Bengals is you laid it out. Calf injuries are weird, man. And they result in some things that turn bad, like Achilles injuries or calf pulls, calf strains that cost you 6 weeks. And the Ravens, I think we all want this offense to be like new and improved, and woo, look, Lamar's spreading it out, and it's just like Louisville, baby. Look at it. And the reality is we have no idea. Like, we've really seen
Todd Monken be an offensive coordinator in the NFL before, and I'm getting confused where everyone is talking about, like, oh, this is going to be just like Georgia. And it's like, it's probably going to be a lot closer to what he was in Tampa Bay when they didn't look like Georgia at fucking all.
Exactly. And so that's why I'm going to hold it a bit. Now, the Steelers, they're going to be hovering. They're going to be hovering, and we know they will be. But I think, now, I could be completely wrong here. I think they're going to have a couple rough patches throughout the season, Tyson. Or if you are interested in buying into Pittsburgh, you can go ahead and get them at a better number. But they do have an easy schedule. So I think you're really going to have to wade through and see, like, kind of where these numbers can get soft if they do struggle at some point.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to struggle. That's the nature of the division.
No plays for either of us in the AFC North. Let's get to the AFC West, where a year ago, everybody's saying this is the best division in the history of pro sports, and it did not come to fruition. The Kansas City Chiefs are your big favorite, minus 180. The LA Chargers are your second favorite, plus 300. The Denver Broncos third, plus 600, and the Las Vegas Raiders last at plus 1,700. Really, nothing's changed in this division besides the fact that Sean Payton's now the coach of the Denver Broncos, and Jimmy Garoppolo is the quarterback of the Raiders. Now, from a long-term aspect, the Chiefs avoided a huge injury news with Travis Kelce hyperextending his knee, avoided anything structural, but they're still trying to figure things out with their star defensive tackle, Chris Jones. Apparently, he's prepared to sit out the whole year. I don't think that's going to happen, but I mean, that would be a major blow to this Chiefs team. Tyson, are you going to play anything pre-flop in this division?
No, no. The Raiders suck. They're going to suck. Josh McDaniels is going to lose his job sooner rather than later. I think this Chandler Jones stuff going on, I don't know if anybody's following that, but this is like a direct call out of your head coach by your best player. And your head coach, by the way, has already shown us that he probably shouldn't be a head coach in the NFL. And he's better prepared to be an offensive coordinator for the best quarterback of all time. The Denver Broncos, I think it'd be cool. It'd be a cool story if Sean Payton came in there and turned them around and got everything going. The defense is going to be the defense, right? And so the question marks go on offense. I'm of the belief that maybe Russell Wilson is just closer to being bad now than Nathaniel Hackett is the worst coach in the history of the league. Both could be true, or maybe Russ comes out. I mean, to expect this guy to get back to pre-pinky injury Seattle days when we haven't seen it in 3 years now seems like a pretty tall ask. I don't believe in the Chargers. I don't believe in Brandon Staley. I love Justin Herbert. Love the offense. Do not believe in Brandon Staley. Leaves me with Kansas City. Pair them. You're going to do this straight up? Unless you're fine money-wise and you don't have any worries, because this has to be, if you're putting one unit on the Seattle Seahawks to win the division, you might as well kind of put 5 on the Chiefs to make it worth it, right? And that's not a game I want to play.
Yeah, I'm not playing anything here. No, I think I'm going to be trying to play this at some point in season.
Yes, because if they lose week 1, and maybe they lose, the thing is though, they get the 10 days after week 1, and to expect Pat Mahomes to come out and lose week 1 and Andy Reid to lose week 1 with all that time and then with 10 days, I don't know if the number gets better. That's the only thing that sucks.
Yeah, I don't know either. I mean, they do have a hard schedule. I mean, based on who they're playing this year, they have a top 5 hardest schedule in the league, just based on win total projections. So it's going to be a hard road for the Chiefs. I mean, and also they're in the AFC. They're playing great quarterback after great quarterback. And Tyson, if that defense, it always feels like Spagnuolo pulls like a rabbit out of his hat late in the season. All of a sudden those rookies started playing great. The scheme that just started working all of a sudden. In the first half of the season, it hasn't been great for the Chiefs. And if they're not going to have their do-it-all, can do anything on the defensive line, Chris Jones there, we're talking about a defense that could get shredded up and look completely different than we've seen this Chiefs team turn into the past couple of years. And so I think there may be a little bit of vulnerability here. Now, you're right. What's this number going to get to? Will it jump to 250 if they win week 1? What happens if they start 2-0? So you're playing with fire here if you like the Chiefs and don't get in early. But for me, I'm staying away from everybody else. You laid it out. Raiders are going to be horrible. They could have the number 1 overall pick by the time the season's over. The Chargers, they're just going to have to prove it, right? At this point, it's all hype and no substance. You got to, at some point, perform on the field. And then the Broncos, listen, plus 600 to me, it's interesting. Is there a high side that they can probably reach? Well, I'll just foreshadow. There's something later that I think if you're going to attack what you want to do with the Broncos, there's something else out there. But no play for either of us here in the AFC West, Tyson. Let's close it off here with the AFC West. When you have the Buffalo Bills, the favorites at plus 120, the New York Jets and the hype machine, baby, at plus 250 with new quarterback Aaron Rodgers, the Miami Dolphins at plus 290, and then the New England Patriots last at plus 800. My God, Bill Belichick, what's going on there? Who are you playing pre-flop in this division?
So in this division, I actually played 2.
Okay.
I played the Buffalo Bills just because I think before the DeMar Hamlin stuff, they were the best team in football to me last season. There are times where the Buffalo Bills are the most frustrating thing going. I'm not sold on James Cook to be the guy that they want him to be, but the Bills are going to win 12 games, and that might just be enough. They might win 14. But I also went Dolphins here at plus 290. The Dolphins certainly believe that their Super Bowl window is open. I believe that their Super Bowl window is open. I also believe that as the Jonathan Taylor stuff drags out and drags on, price goes down. That's my feeling. I think Miami is monitoring that closely. This defense is good enough to win 12, 13 games. this offense might be the best in the league if everything goes right. Like if Devon Achane can play for real, this might be the best offense in the league. And then maybe you're not so worried about getting a running back. You're obviously worried about Tua's health and stuff. I'm not buying into the hard knock bump for the New York Jets. Like, I get it, man. Their juice. Defense is awesome. The offense has all these names. Problem with all those names, when's the last time we saw Aaron Rodgers walk into a building with a bunch of second-year dudes and just immediately gel and mesh on the field? I don't care about joint practice. I don't care about the clips we get shown when it's best on best at Jets practice, because it's not the same. He doesn't have a choice. But I promise you that if he is gunning Garrett Wilson a few times and Garrett Wilson doesn't read the back shoulder the right way and it leads to an interception, all of a sudden it's the Alan Lazard show. Right? It's a Randall Cobb show. I've seen this movie. I know how that ends. And I really think that there's a chance that's likely this year. You're relying on Breece Hall, who I think is super good, to have a superhuman comeback from this injury. You're relying on Dalvin Cook, who, he's the best car on the used car lot. You go in there, you got your money, you're all excited, you buy it, and it breaks down just before you get home. It seems like every year that's the way he rolls. Look, the Jets are going to be good. I just don't think they're going to be better than the Dolphins or the Bills.
I'm rolling with the Bills plus 120. And there's a saying, right? You sell on good news, you buy on bad news. And everybody is selling the Buffalo Bills because, last year they looked so bad to close the season. And, they'll never get it done because, the Bills are cursed. And, oh, my God, Leslie Frazier's gone. This team can't run the ball. That's what I'm going to buy the Bills, because there's nobody talking about them. There's nobody hyping them up. Like, they were the favorites to win the Super Bowl last year. This year, Tyson, they're top 5. But does anybody really, look at them and oh, yes, Bills, I want a piece of the Bills. So I'm going to take them at plus 120. They've been dominant in this division for the past few years, and they still have the best quarterback in this division. Like, Josh Allen right now is better than Aaron Rodgers. He's better than everybody else. And so I'm going to take the Bills. Now, I'm intrigued by the Jets. I actually think I've seen that movie too with Aaron Rodgers. But also when he gets reinvigorated about certain things, we saw it with Matt LaFleur coming in with the Green Bay Packers, 2 MVPs. Now it got stale. Okay, now he's kind of reinvigorated in New York. He's the man. This is a new thing. I think it could work very, very well for the Jets. Now it's plus 250. I don't want to take a chance that it doesn't, because their first 6 games in this are ridiculously hard. So if anything, I'm going to buy the New York Jets when they're lucky to go 3-3 after the first 6 games of the season. And for the Dolphins, man, I really want to buy in. Tua is my boy. I'm the leader of 2-9. I think everybody knows that at this point. And I love that offense. Are they going to get way too pass happy? Are they going to want to run the ball? We're talking about a coach, Mike McDaniel, who was the freaking run game coordinator at one point. I guess he hated it. He hated that job. And so I'm curious to see how that goes. And the Patriots, they're just not as talented as everybody else in this division, despite the fact they still have Bill Belichick and a really good defense. And they actually got an adult offensive coordinator, Bill O'Brien, back and calling plays for Mac Jones. I would be shocked if they won the division. So I'm going to go Bills plus 120. Tyson likes them as well. And he also likes a play on the Dolphins in case they have a really good season at plus 290. Okay, that does it for division winners. Tyson, let's get into the NFC conference winners here. And I think it's extremely interesting at the top, because when you're looking at everything regarding the NFC, we know it's much weaker than the AFC. The quarterback play is worse. The teams are worse overall. I think there's only a few contenders, and the odds board would suggest that. The Eagles are the favorites at plus 330. The 49ers at plus 400. The Cowboys at plus 600. Then you have the Detroit Lions at plus 800. Everybody else is a 4-digit number. So with that being said, we can run through different things here. Is there anybody else that you're putting on right now and you're like, yes, I'm backing them?
No. I think you can cut it off after 3, man. I love the Detroit Lions. It would be insane to go from being the Detroit Lions and then 2 years later. Like, we're talking about them like they made the playoffs or won a playoff game. Like, they didn't make the playoffs. Like, they beat the Packers to keep them out of the playoffs. I'm not interested in somebody coming off moral victories to represent the conference in the Super Bowl. And then the rest of them, it'd be crazy if the Seahawks made the Super Bowl. I don't see any of that stuff. I think It really is a three-team race at this point, right? Everybody's healthy and all that stuff. So to me, who's the most talented team in the conference? It's the Philadelphia Eagles. I don't see the San Francisco 49ers beating them in a playoff game. I don't see the Dallas Cowboys beating them in a playoff game. And so I think that Philly represents the NFC in the Super Bowl. And I know, everyone has this notion that if you make the Super Bowl and lose, like you're going to suck the next year, it's really hard to get back. I think it's 5 out of the last 15 have at least played in the conference championship game, right? And like one of them won the entire thing. Who's excluded from that? That's the Patriots. Like they have a better shot of getting back to at least the NFC championship game than people realize. And I think they're just a little bit better built to maybe have to go on the road in the playoffs than San Francisco or Dallas is.
So I'm going to take the Eagles at plus 330. And for everything that you just laid out, like I think they have the best roster in the NFC for sure. I think the NFL, they have from top to bottom, they have the most talented roster in the entire league. Secondly, I don't think this price is going to get better. I just don't. You're sitting here at plus 330 and you're like, it's pretty low. Well, it's low for a reason because the probability of them making to the NFC Championship and then winning that game is extremely high compared to the rest of the teams in this league. And so if you don't think the Eagles can get back to the NFC Championship game, obviously you're not going to play this. If you do and you think like me and Tyson that they are the best team in the NFC and they're most likely to win this conference, I recommend playing it right now because I don't see this price improving. Like they're going to be a really good team in my opinion. No, they could suck. Like honestly, like they could be bad. Like it's the NFL. Yeah. Things happen. Like Jalen Hurts could get hurt. Like the entire team could get hurt. Who knows? But what I'm projecting is that this is going to be a really good football team. Took their win total over, took them to win the division. And by that standard, I expect them to have only needing to win one game to get back to the NFC Championship game where I'll think that they're probably going to have a home game. And I think they're going to win it. And so I'm going to take it at plus 330. I don't think you're going to get a better price than that. They're the only one I'm playing out of the NFC before the season starts. So now I'll wait. Now, if there's somebody else, I'm like, oh, okay, this team could get interesting. This team looks like they're a playoff team. Maybe I'll throw something on them. But, I mean, I'm looking like Seahawks plus 1,300. No way. Saints plus 1,700. Absolutely not. Falcons, everybody's loving plus 2,200. I can't justify that. And then you just go through everything else. I just don't see it. So, for me, Eagles plus 330. Tyson, no play for you as of now.
No, I got the Eagles.
Oh, you got the Eagles as well. Sorry, I don't know. Yeah. I didn't put up the graphic for you here. Let me make
Can't be shorting me.
Shorten you on this thing. Okay, so
taking a step further, Jalen Hurts gets hurt in the NFC title game, and Tanner McKee beats the San Francisco 49ers. How funny would that be? Oh, my
God. That would be – so we're going to have two statues of backup QBs.
That's funny with that.
That's just how it goes. Okay, so Tyson and I both on Eagles plus 330 officially here. Let's get to the AFC, where I think this is going to be extremely hard to predict who's actually going to win this when we get to the playoffs. I think it's going to be a war of attrition, just me personally, just based on how many good quarterbacks, how hard each of the schedules are for these teams. I think getting the number one overall seed is going to be the most important factor and the most telling on who's actually going to win this conference. So, with that said, the Chiefs are plus 350. The favorites. The Bills are second at plus 450. The Bengals plus 550. The Ravens plus 900. The Jets plus 1,000. Chargers, Dolphins plus 1,100. Anybody that you're thinking that you want to hold a ticket on here in the AFC before we start?
Yeah, and this is one that I'm not in love with, but I did place the bet, so I'm gonna say it. But if you're confused at my reasoning here, it's because I am a little bit too. I went through that whole thing in the AFC North. I didn't know who was going to win the division, but the Cincinnati Bengals are going to win the AFC. I mean, this is a team that has represented the AFC in the Super Bowl and has made the AFC Championship game in the last 2 years. This is a team that is loaded for bear, dude. I mean, if Joe Mixon is washed, that's a problem. And that's an issue that I think can pretty easily be rectified in today's NFL. Like, I don't think, you're relying on Chase Brown to come out here and, like, he has to play because Joe Mixon can't play when, like, Fat Lenny and Kareem Hunt and those guys haven't signed yet. Like, they're going to be guys that you can add. I just think Joe Burrow is the best winner not named Patrick Mahomes, and I think that Pat Mahomes is probably the smart bet here, and Andy Reid and all those guys. It's just dude, we can't go from the Patriots immediately into another dynasty. Like, I can't. That can't be the way the NFL works now.
Well, we saw what happened when the Chiefs won the Super Bowl, right? It took them a little bit to get back, you know, like it does in the NFL, just because that's what happens. Like, they don't want you to have dynasties, and for some reason, Belichick and Brady just broke that. And so, I'm not playing the Chiefs here, Tyson. I'm going to play the Bills plus 450. I'm just really bought into this team. I actually think they're going to be focused. They addressed a lot of the things that we called out. The soft offensive line, the soft mentality, like they want to bang on that offensive line and defensive line now. Like they need to play to their strengths, which are power, running, getting downhill, and just getting back to that aspect. And then you can be finesse over the top when you got 7 in the box. It doesn't have to look pretty on the stat line for the Bills to be good. And I think they'll get back to that this year under McDermott in his direction, plus a second year since Dayball's been gone. So you're going to have a little bit more stability on the offensive side, in my opinion. I mean, it could not be. It could just be worse. But I like the Bills here plus 450. If they do perform the way they are expected to perform, at least in my mind. I don't know how much lower this gets, but I do think this is probably the best price we'll see on the Bills. Now, again, they could be bad, and this could balloon. But I like the Bills here at plus 450. And I teased it before, Tyson. I think there's a way to play the Denver Broncos. I think if you are buying into Sean Payton coming in and being the fixer, Russell Wilson not being the problem last year, then I think you should take a shot on the Denver Broncos at plus 3,000 here to win the AFC. Because, Tyson, this defense is sick. Like, this defense is elite. And they just erase offenses. And if this is at least some sort of offense that can put up points compared to last year, this could be a scary playoff team. Javonte Williams will be coming back, and he'll be healthy by late in the season. So that's a running game that you'll add there. They upgraded the offensive line by adding Mike McGlinchey. And so this is just a long shot here that if the Broncos actually look legitimately good, you're not going to get a better price than plus 3,000 if this team wins. I'm just going to tell you that right now. So this is a price play. Now, if they suck, who cares? It's a plus 3,000 long shot. If they're great, you have insane closing line value on a team that has a quarterback who has the pedigree and a head coach who has the pedigree and a defense that's built to win a championship. So plus 3,000 long shot Broncos for me. Are you playing anybody else? Long shot, play anybody else besides the Bengals, or are you just riding with your boys in Cincy?
I'm riding with my boys in Cincy and trying not to throw up my mouth after that right there. I mean, to be fair, you can't play this right now in New York, but Sean Payton's plus 1,400 for Coach of the Year. And that, to me, seems safer if you believe in Denver to the extent that it seems that Brad has talked himself into here. Is this 2 years in a row?
Is this 2 years in a row, baby? You know how I am. I'm stubborn.
Denver back-to-back AFC champs here.
Let's do it.
I said what I said.
Let's do it. All right, Super Bowl winner to wrap things up before we get to the player awards to close the show out. Chiefs, your favorite, plus 600. Eagles, second favorite, plus 800. Bills, plus 900. And then you got your Bengals, the 49ers at plus 1,000. The Dallas Cowboys at plus 1,300. And then you got more longer shots. Ravens plus 1,800 with the Jets plus 1,800 and everybody else over plus 2,000 odds to win the Super Bowl. All right, Tyson, what are some tickets that you're going to be holding to win this thing and host the Lombardi Trophy when it's all said and done?
This sucks, dude, but I think the Cincinnati Bengals are going to win the Super Bowl.
Ooh, okay.
So that first and foremost, I think they beat the Philadelphia Eagles. That's actually a play I have in a bet slip right now, plus 4,400 for Cincinnati over Philadelphia in the Super Bowl. As an Eagles fan, it's not fun to sit here and think they're going to lose the Super Bowl again. But dude, I just really think that Cincinnati is special. I think Big Lou is like overdue on his flowers from a lot of people around the league. I think that Zach Taylor got a lot of hate from people like us. Turns out he was right, and we don't really know what we're talking about. This skill position group, that's the thing. Like, if T. Higgins is healthy all year and Jamar Chase is healthy all year, good luck. Because at that point, it doesn't really matter if they can run the ball. Joe Burrow is putting that thing on a rope, and it is just 320 yards of passing offense every game. I got Cincinnati, dude. I think the defense is good enough. We've seen it with them in big games. Like, they were in that AFC Championship game until they weren't. And we all remember the hit and the reaction post game and all that stuff. That's football. Sometimes you lose that way, right? I mean, that's the way it works. It's really hard to not lead off with the Kansas City Chiefs because I think they deserve that respect. But man, Cincy's going to be good as shit.
Plus 600 for a repeat for the Chiefs. Like, obviously it's deserved, but with how hard the AFC is, I can't justify it. You know, I'm just looking like there could, like, if the Jets are as good as they look on paper, like, God, that team is going to be hard to beat in the playoffs. Like, if the Dolphins are as electric as they look on paper, I mean, how do you slow them down? It just, there's so many things here. So Tyson, it's not going to surprise anybody that I have the Bills as one of my picks here at plus 900. I think they're going to win the AFC. And so I might as well get them to win the Super Bowl at plus 900. And my other one's not going to surprise anybody either, the Eagles, plus 800. And so those are my two that I'm going to hold. I just think these are the two teams that are going to separate themselves at the end. Now, obviously, right? Oh, yeah, you took them to win Super Bowl. No shit. I just think throughout the season, they're going to separate themselves. Like, there's still question marks that people have about the Eagles. Can they do it again? Is Jalen Hurts actually good? Oh, it was fluky. Look at their schedule last year. Without the realization that, no, this team could actually just be incredible and starting to build something in the NFC that we haven't seen in a long time. And with the Bills, I think there's question marks about them too. Like, oh, offensively, they look bad. Josh Allen regressed. Like, what about that defense? They looked soft and they got shredded up. But what happens if they get back to what they did and were, again, 17 seconds, I think it was, or was it 14 seconds against
Something
the Chiefs?
like that, yeah, 13
away
minutes.
From probably going to the Super Bowl. I don't know if they beat the Bengals, who knows, but, like, you know, they have at least a shot. And so I'll take my chances on the Eagles and the Bills, plus 800 and plus 900 respectively.
I like it.
You like it? Maybe I'll put in one of those an Eagles over Bills or Bills over Eagles thing that you did with Bengals over Eagles.
I like doing those, dude, but it's not all it's cracked up to be because it stinks to, like, I've had two in my life that have lost. Both sides lose in championship weekend.
Oh,
that sucks. Like, I don't think there's a worse feeling. It's like, dude, I sat on this for half of a fucking year. And then now I just got to see it disappear. I get the red X pop up. That's no good.
Yeah, that's a tough pill to swallow. That is a tough pill to swallow. All right, Tyson, last part of the show here on our NFL Futures Extravaganza, player awards. Now, this is something that I can't bet out here in New York because we can't bet on anything that's voted on across any sport, which is just a joke, which pisses me off. But I was in Maryland for Labor Day this past weekend, and I got a nice little peek at a couple of the markets that I was looking at. Me not interested at all in MVP. Not interested at all in Coach of the Year based on that bullshit last year that the voters pulled, giving Brian Daboll, who got smacked by Nick Sirianni twice, the Coach of the Year award over him, even with a better record. Three times in the playoffs. Yeah, but they didn't know. Well, they should have, I guess, if they watched the first two games. I guess they didn't. The only two I'm interested in, Tyson, are Defensive Player of the Year, Micah Parsons, and Offensive Rookie of the Year, Bijan Robinson. Yes, I know it's a short price on Bijan, but I don't think you're going to get a better number than what you're going to get right now. Like, he could set the world on fire week one. Okay, yep, he's going to go down to even money. So get that in. And then Micah Parsons, I think, is going to lead the league in sacks. I think they want to give him the award at some point because he's been so dominant and so special. So those are my only two that I'm going to be playing in this market. Now, I could travel to Jersey and place something in season because that seems to be the thing to do now. Like, just because, I don't know. Like, if you get something with the voters, that's the play. But Tyson, those are my only two preseason. What about you? What are you interested in playing?
So I'm playing Bijan as well for Offensive Rookie of the Year. I think this is a kind of rarer case in the NFL. With all these quarterbacks coming in this season, you imagine, right? Like, history tells us it's going to be one of them. Like, all the teams are bad, and I think there's a pretty good chance that they start stealing votes from each other. Like, if both Bryce Young and CJ Stroud are good, then how do you pick? And if you have a running back over here with 1,600 all-purpose yards, 12 touchdowns, 13 touchdowns, whatever it ends up being, I think Bijan is not only do I agree with you that I don't think this price gets any better. It's a little bit better for me here in Montana, which was nice, but this was something I expected to be closer to even money. Maybe that's just my personal bias getting in the way. And you're not interested in MVP. I think that Trevor Lawrence at plus 1,600 is a good look. I think Jacksonville breezes through that division. I think that the addition of Calvin Ridley is going to be nice, but I also think people aren't fully paying attention to the fact that like Tank Bigsby is here now, and we're going to be able to run between the tackles because if you watch Doug Peterson, it's never going to be a one-man show. What does that do? That keeps ETN more fresh. That's more receptions out of the backfield, padding his numbers, right? Calvin Ridley coming over. So you're thinking, oh, that's Christian Kirk's targets that are going to go up. I think Zay Jones kind of stands to benefit here because he's going to be a sneaky safety valve guy all year. I don't believe Evan Ingram is like arrived, and now all of a sudden the first 5 years where he couldn't catch a football have disappeared. But the skill position group is really good. They're going to be really good. I think they're going to be sniffing around a first, second, or third seed in the AFC, and kind of a narrative-driven award. So if we get this generational talent that finally puts it together, and it's only been 2 years since Urban Meyer, we could throw those away. Look at how good he's been. I think that this number, like if they keep winning and start winning, I mean, you might be able to get in pretty close to this price, but I think he finishes the season somewhere around 800.
Okay. That's interesting. That is interesting. I like it. I mean, hey, like who knows, man? That's what you take shots on, right? Like Jalen Hurts. I don't know how many people were talking about Jalen Hurts last year, and if he doesn't get hurt, is he MVP? You know, so
don't want to think about that. That one hurt my pockets. I do have some other ones here, Brad, that I played. I didn't find them on FanDuel. I know they're on there. I just didn't give it the look that I probably should have. And these aren't awards. These are kind of just more season-long things. I took Justin Jefferson for most receiving yards in the NFL. I took Mike Williams to lead the league in touchdown receptions. That was kind of a shot play, but this is like it's now or never, man. And if this offense is supposed to be letting Justin Herbert rip it and throw the ball down the field, I think he's the biggest beneficiary of that. I have Bijan Robinson. Oh, go ahead.
Hold on a sec. Sorry. Let me find these for people on FanDuel here. So Mike Williams, most receiving touchdowns. Is that what you said?
Yes.
Plus 2,800. Justin Jefferson, you said most receptions.
Receiving yards.
Receiving yards. Okay, so he's plus 400. He's the favorite.
Oh, I'm getting better odds out here. This was the first time for everything. I have Bijan Robinson to lead the league in rushing yards because Brad and I have a little six-pack bet on Bijan being the best running back in the NFL right out the gate, so I figured I'd put my own money on it.
Plus 750 on FanDuel.
And then I took Myles Garrett to lead the league in sacks. Myles Garrett has 33 sacks in his last 32 games.
And he is plus 600 if you like him to do that as well.
I mean, that's a tough one because you could go Micah Parsons, you could go TJ Watt. You never, ever know if any of these guys are going to stay healthy or if Robert Quinn just like shows up out of nowhere and has 20 sacks. But like track record wise, Myles Garrett is my play there.
Yeah, I took him last year, just barely missed out, but I got Nick Bosa for Defensive Player of the Year. So that, whatever, well, you give some, you take. Tyson, I didn't play a lot this year, and we did last season a lot of actual season-long player props. So I didn't do enough work on that this year, so I don't feel comfortable playing anything and giving it out to others. And I know you're kind of in the same boat as we're focused on a bunch of other stuff and kind of projecting forward. I did play one thing though, and I took most regular season passing yards, Justin Herbert at plus 450. He was so close last season. I think with Kellen Moore, he's going to get that. And it's nothing that's going to like pad your pockets and be like, woo, at plus 450. But I do think he's going to have a really good season. Plus 450, I'll take that. And I'm just not sure. You know, Mahomes is priced at plus 250. He had an incredible year last year. I think they may be sitting on the playbook a little bit more this year, Tyson. And I think the Chargers are going to go balls to the wall, really try to show people what's going on. Kellen Moore wants to make his name right again and things like that, get this shine back. So I'll take Herbert at plus 450. That's the only season-long player prop I've played this season too. And so I'm kind of looking, there's some juicy ones, but nothing that I'm going to play before we kick the game or kick the ball off on Thursday.
Yeah, and it's really tough to do. A.J. Dillon, 650 rush yards at minus 118. Those markets are just never very enticing to me because, like, the nature of the NFL is dudes get hurt, and like I don't like to lose anyways. But it's a different feeling when you lose due to injury.
It's
like if you like Kyle Pitts being bad is something you can live with. It's really hard to just swallow somebody tearing their ACL in week 4.
Cortland Sutton last year was so close, but he got banged up for like 3 games. Oh, that was brutal. All right, well, that's going to – yeah, well, I'm surprised you're the last one on it. That's going to do it for the NFL Futures Extravaganza. Let us know in the comments what you're tailing, if you're fading everything, if you think we're idiots, the Bills are going to suck, the Eagles are going to suck, Cowboys are the best, let's go Giants, or whoever else, Chiefs are just going to run through this. Let us know. In the meantime, Tyson, we got a lot of stuff coming out in our chalkboard where we're playing a bunch of different things on a football season's back.
Yes, it is. So it's the Chalkboard app. It's in the App Store, Google Play, wherever you download your apps. ISWIS, the Roundtable Bets, is our group name in there. I believe if you type in the Roundtable Bets, you'll get there. I believe if you type in ISWIS, you'll get there. It's free. It is Brad and I and a handful of other people posting picks and just having a good time. We are in the NFL season now. Brad and I started last season a little slowly with our player props. I think we missed the first two, and we ran off 10 in a row. And we're very transparent in there. We're putting the picks in the night before in most cases, sometimes the day of if there is some injury news or things like that. But look, I mean, we turned, I think it was $25 into 1,200 or something like that at one point.
At one point,
last
the
year.
rollover, yeah.
And that's the goal there is to roll it over, cash out, make a profit, and start again. And so if you want to be involved in that, if you want to tail those, which, I mean, don't want to pat ourselves on the back, but you should. We're gonna come out swinging tomorrow night, and we're not missing for 20 weeks.
Link to the chalkboard is in the description if you're watching on YouTube or listening on podcast form. In the meantime, like, subscribe, and share the show. Any likes on YouTube, that really helps us out. Any ratings for 5 stars if you're listening to podcasts, whether it's Apple or Spotify or wherever else, that helps us out a ton. And make sure to subscribe so you don't miss anything whenever we post a lot of stuff, because we have a ton of content coming out. College football, NFL mainly, as we get like just head on diving into the football season. Like, we're not going to miss a beat. And share the show as well. Like, share it with a friend, share it with an enemy, whatever the case may be. Just get our name out there. We'd really appreciate it. And we'll have some more fun stuff coming up. Maybe like some contest stuff that we can do, any promos, anything like that. And so if you want to get involved and help us out, like, we'll definitely reward you for that too. And so we'll have some details going forward. So you got to stay connected with us on our social media pages. You can follow us on X, on Instagram, on TikTok. It's all the same at ISWIS_pod. In the meantime, we got college football. It's week 2. God, it's week 2 already of college football. We'll have that episode coming out later this week, so make sure not to miss that as we preview the big games and give out our picks. Until then, guys, peace.